Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever it is that you are, wherever you may be. Thank you very much for making us a part of your day. I am Brad Franklin, Digital Media Relations Manager here in Chesterfield. Very glad to tell you that Chesterfield Behind the Mic is on the air once again. Through the course of doing this podcast, I've done a variety of different episodes with folks who have incredible experiences and who have done a lot of incredible things, been through a lot of incredibly difficult times, incredible times, as wordy as that might sound. And I think our next guest can certainly relate to that. I want to welcome peer recovery specialist Rondell Davis to the show. Rondell, how are you?
I'm good. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
I very much appreciate your time. Very much appreciate you willing to come on the show and talk to us, not only about peer recovery, which we'll get to in a few minutes, but also your journey through recovery, your journey through what was at that point drug court, which is now recovery court, and that kind of thing. Before we get started, I always like to give folks a chance to hear a little bit about the person that I'm talking to in situations like this, where the podcast is really sort of a little bit just focus on your actual life and your experiences. That's a little bit hard, right? A lot of times it's like, oh, what did you do before you came to such and such and such? In your case here, we're really focusing on you. So I thought I might start with maybe kind of an opportunity for you to tell me a little bit about your childhood and about your sort of early life and what you remember from those days.
Yes, absolutely. So my childhood, I am from Richmond, Virginia.
Right.
I am the oldest. I have a brother by my mom, and my dad has a son as well. So, okay. So my mom, she is a retired master sergeant in the United States Army, and so that her career carried her away from us a lot. And my dad was a chronic alcoholic.
Okay.
And so, without going too deep in it, I will say this, that trauma that is unresolved, unhealed, unaddressed, has a way of becoming generational.
Yeah.
And so, as a result of having a mother who was gone a lot,
right,
a father who was a chronic alcoholic, and I did have a grandmother that I didn't mention who suffered from mental illness.
Okay.
And we spent a lot of time with her. And so all of these factors and components kind of shaped and kind of primed me to fall into addictive behaviors.
Right.
And so, so I definitely took some wrong turns, made some bad choices and decisions, and had some heavy consequences as a result, a lot of legal consequences.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons, obviously, recovery court was a place that you eventually landed. I want to talk a little bit about sort of what that was like. I mean, obviously, when you went through it some time ago, it was drug court, but we'll try to refer to it, if we can, as recovery court, since that's what we're calling it now. I thought it might give you a chance to talk through not only sort of how that happened, but why you think it was the only path forward for you at that point in your life. Because I know from talking to you, you kind of said with a smirk and a smile that you were especially stubborn, and it was going to take a lot to get you to kind of see where you actually were, to be able to get you to go where you needed to go. Tell me a little bit about sort of how you got there and why that was that only path forward at that point.
Absolutely. So by the time I landed, or should I say fell into drug court,
right?
And it's difficult to say recovery court because it has been drug court for so many years. So by the time when I went through the program, it was drug court. So I'm going to use that term.
That's fair. Yeah.
So by the time I fell into drug court, I was already an 11-time convicted felon.
Right.
I was 50 years old. I was at the end of the road as far as consequences. I was all out of ideas. My relationships were in shreds with the people that loved me. I had almost like I had just drove a bulldozer through my loved one's life and left behind a lot of wreckage. And so I was just kind of tired.
Yeah.
I was just tired, and I did not want to return back to prison. I had done like 15 years on the installment plan, back and forth.
Right.
And so by the time my lawyer, bless his heart, Mr. Russell Watson, came to me with the idea of doing this program, it seemed like a great idea.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
I had already done everything else.
Right. You tried it every other way.
Every other way, and nothing seemed to give me the relief that I needed from my active addiction.
Right. So in the process of going through drug court, recovery court, it's a fairly long process. And I think that's one of the things that I find especially interesting about the more I learn about it is that, it seems like it really varies depending on who that person is, what their circumstances are, what their, how quickly they can sort of get to the other side, so to speak, of that initial step into, out of active addiction and into actual recovery. How long of a process was that for you? And what do you remember about those months?
So for me, coming into the program, even though I was tired and kind of at the end of the road with my active addiction, I still was hardwired. I still didn't know if this would actually work for me.
Right.
Even though I was hoping it would.
Right.
And so coming into the program, I still had to be, so coming from active addiction to a structured environment, being held accountable, having a routine and appointments. And it was just overwhelming at first. And
because I can imagine it had been a long time.
It had been a while.
Right.
And so in the beginning, I did have some consequences. I did use in the beginning, and so I did have a sanction. And I remember coming home from the sanction, and I still was testing positive, and I went right back to jail. And going right back to jail, and there was a young lady in the bullpen who I was acquainted with. We had did time before. And she saw me in the bullpen, and she was like, "What are you doing here?" And she was a former graduate of Chesterfield County Drug Court, and she was doing community service or something for an incident. But I remember she told me, she said, "You cannot do this program." She said, "I know you, I've done time with you, and just the person you are, you cannot do this program. You might as well just terminate yourself now because you're not going to do it."
Right.
And somehow her saying that to me, it kind of hit me like straight in the chest. And I was like, people have counted me out.
Yeah.
And I have counted myself out.
Right. Yeah.
And I realized where I was at in life, and it just left me with a desperation to get out of that hole, to get out of that pit, and to prove to myself that I can and I will, and not just myself, but I owed it to my loved ones as well, to just stop harming them and to start picking up the pieces and can I really do this thing?
Right.
And I wanted to at least attempt.
Right. To do it right.
To do it, to give it my all, just like I felt like my addiction just took everything from me.
Right.
I wanted to give this program and a shot at recovery.
Right.
My all. And so when I came home from that second sanction, or when I came home from that, I had already made up my mind that
the stubbornness kicked in.
Yes, exactly, for the good. And once I made up my mind, it didn't matter what the probation officer, how I felt, this isn't fair, or this or that. I had made up my mind that this is what I'm going to do.
Right. And so how many months between that day and when you actually graduated? Because I know from talking to you and that getting through this process was especially I mean, it's a long haul, right? How long of a process was that for you, and what was it like to graduate from drug court?
Oh, man. So my process lasted approximately 27 months, so a little bit over 2 years.
Right.
I remember going into the courtroom. I had gotten my graduation date.
Mm-hmm.
I remember the judge at that time was Judge Frederick Rockwell, and he told me, he said, "Miss Davis, you're delightful." And I tell you, I realized that the way I'm showing up in the world is different.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not that same person who takes and you know, just it's not a productive, responsible member of society. I'm showing up different. I'm doing things differently.
Right, yeah.
And it was the best feeling in the world. Like, you know, it's been a lot of things that I have started but never finished.
Right.
And I felt like I was well on my way. And so my graduation date was October 13th, 2021.
Okay.
And it was one of the best days of my life.
Do you celebrate that every year?
I do.
Oh, that's great. Because you're coming up on it as we sit here today.
I do.
You're not that far from it.
And my daughter actually spoke at my graduation.
Yeah.
And, you know, and to hear her perspective on everything she went through, because she has a story as well.
Right, yeah.
And to hear her perspective and her healing and everything that my recovery has given to her.
Right.
It just propelled me to just continue to move forward.
Right. And that obviously that next phase after you graduate, I can imagine, you know, you go through so much to get there, and then you sort of get to the mountaintop, so to speak, right? And you stand around, you look around and go, okay, well what's next, right? What was that next phase like for you, you know, before you became peer recovery? What was the sort of next phase for you after drug court, recovery court? What did you lean on once you were on the other side?
So I tell you, it was a point in my recovery where it was during COVID. Everything kind of shut down. Even community support meetings had shut down.
Right.
Like this foundation that I was building that was supporting me and holding me up kind of collapsed.
Yeah.
During peer recovery, during COVID time. And I told my clinician at the time, I said, I'm going to use. Like, you know, I just felt like I was going to go back to the familiar. And what he did was he said, do me a favor before you use. He said, first thing I want you to do is call and tell your probation officer that you feel like you want to use. And I'm like, what? Call my probation officer? Like, that's not what we do. And then the second thing, he connected me with a peer recovery specialist over at the Mental Health Support Services building on Lucy Core Drive. And so I just took a leap of faith and I went to see this person.
Yeah.
And I truly believe that connecting with this individual, her name was Henri Morris at the time, connecting with her just felt right. Yeah. It was different.
Right, yeah. And I was actually thinking as you were kind of explaining, because it makes sense to me that it's one thing to hear it from, you know, even a member of your family or someone who comes at it from maybe a clinician side, but to see someone, talk to someone, connect with someone who has gone through what you're going through, that they understand literally the spot you're standing in right now. I can imagine that was incredibly powerful. And so that helped you through that process.
Absolutely.
And I'm deducing then that that's what kind of led you to say, okay, now how can I get involved, right?
Exactly. And I definitely, just talking to her and connecting with her and her supporting me, I was like, I want to do this.
Yeah.
This is what I want to do. And so what happened...
Did you know that like immediately, or did it take some time?
I knew that immediately.
Interesting.
Immediately.
Interesting.
It was like the stars lined up.
You're like, that's what, and this is what this is what I made. Yeah. And then, so it basically sort of rerouted your mind from that standpoint of, I'm worried I'm going to use again, to now why I don't want to, why I want to do something different. And you had that path. What was that experience like to start, kind of seeking that opportunity and to do the work that you needed to do to become a peer recovery specialist?
Exactly. And so wrapping that experience into my graduation. So after I graduated in October of 21, I never left. I never left the program. I said, give me 2 weeks and I'll be back. And so I took 2 weeks off to kind of catch my breath. And I tell you, I didn't even realize how exhausted I was.
I bet, yeah. Emotionally, mentally, all of it, right?
All of it, you know, and achieving this accomplishment that was just so precious to me. And so after I took those 2 weeks off, I came right back. I volunteered, doing groups, helping with the clients that were still there trying to get through. And while I was doing that, I was also taking my 72-hour training.
Okay.
And I was getting hours with drug court then that was required to test, to take the state test for peer recovery specialist. So I've never left. I've been there since 21.
Yeah.
Basically. And they have been more than supportive and wrapped around me to help me reach my goals.
Yeah. How important has that work been to you? And I don't know if you know the number of folks you've worked with or helped over the time that you've been a peer recovery specialist, but I'm just curious, what's that experience been like, and how rewarding is it to look back on the good you've been able to do because of the folks that maybe invested in you and helped you through your process? What's that experience been like for you?
So I noticed that you used the word work, and it doesn't seem like work to me.
Yeah.
You know,
it felt like work when you were on the other side.
It did.
But now it feels, you feel called to it. You feel drawn. I feel you. I feel you.
It feels like purpose. And so I look forward to helping people. I'm always there to embrace the new clients coming into now recovery court, and just to help the people that are struggling and trying to get through the program, to let them know that you can do this, and I always let them know if you can do active addiction.
Oh, that's a good point.
You can do this program.
Yeah.
You can come out on the other side of it.
Right.
So it's definitely, it's not work. And I don't know, because they help me as well. They help me as well. They keep me grateful. They keep me humble.
Right.
They keep me in touch with what it was like.
Yeah, because I can imagine, like, through that whole process, your mind, when you go through recovery in general, is you're having to, the science of this, right, is you're rewiring, and I think you might even use rewired earlier. You're rewiring your brain to respond positively to things that are not the addictive aspects of life that you've known, right? And I can imagine that as you're trying to do that, there's a lot that you're having to like rewire, relearn. And I can imagine that doing this not work, doing this good, right?
Absolutely.
That then starts to almost like, not necessarily replace, if that makes any sense. You know what I mean? But it's like you're doing that good, and so you're getting the positive from that activity versus the addictive activity.
Absolutely.
How many folks, ballpark, do you think you've helped?
Oh, man.
Just take a guess for me.
Oh, wow.
We talking 5? We talking 10? We talking 30? What are we thinking? More?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Exponential? Like, we talking like hundreds?
Well, before I was actually brought on as an employee of Recovery Court, I worked at Sarah Center, Virginia. Yeah. And so my actual peer work, that was a part of it too. And so I have no idea.
But what a blessing that is, right?
How many people?
I was actually kind of hoping that maybe when I asked this question, you'd say, I genuinely don't have any idea.
I don't, because, and a lot of times I don't keep count, because I feel like there are no coincidences.
Right.
I feel like everybody that kind of intersects with me,
they were meant to, right?
Absolutely.
The universe put them on that path. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Just like they put that girl in that cell with you that night, right?
Absolutely. And I'm grateful to her. Thank you for the challenge.
To push the button on the stubbornness to say, well, wait, why can't I?
Absolutely.
As we wrap up here, Rondell, I'm just curious, as you look back on it, what are some things you want people to know, not just about maybe your recovery journal and the role that recovery court played, but also maybe even just how important peer recovery is? Because it sounds like in your experience, the thing that really, really clicked for you was having someone who had been through what you were in the process of going through. And it seems like you've enjoyed it so much you don't think of it as work. As you look back on it, what do you want people to know about the journey you've been on ever since?
So I think that it's important for people to know and understand that recovery is personal. It's a personal journey, so it doesn't have to look like anybody else's journey. It can be as messy or as, whatever it looks like to you, however your life has improved and looks better and feels better for you and your relationships. It's really important. And also,
it's as unique as everybody, as people.
It's unique as we are individuals.
Yeah. And I can imagine too, as you look back on it, when you look back, you're so focused on what's ahead of you, because so much of what you do is focused on, what's ahead of you. It seems like you got lots of miles left in the tire, so to speak, right? I think a lot of people who do the I want to say work again, but you'll tell me it's not work. Who do who do the heavy lifting in souls, right? That you do, right? That sometimes they can get burned out, but it's really cool to see someone who embraces it the way you do. I jokingly said that thing about you being stubborn earlier, but it seems like, you're now as committed as anything else to just, continuing to do so much good and so much heavy lifting in the souls of other people. But I very much appreciate you being willing to talk about your journey through recovery court into peer recovery, doing the not work that you do. I think it's fantastic, and I certainly appreciate you coming on the show and talking to me about it. So thank you very much for joining me.
So much. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. All right. Make sure you check us out on social media. On Twitter, it's at Chesterfield VA, and on Instagram, it's Chesterfield Virginia, one word. And on Facebook, you can check out our podcast page. Just search Chesterfield Behind the Mic. Now, make sure to follow or subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Overcast, or wherever it is that your shows are sold. And if you're so inclined to give us a rating and review, we greatly appreciate that. As always, a video version of our show is available on our YouTube channel as well as on our website at chesterfield.gov/podcast. That's also where you can submit feedback anytime, make a suggestion, or just reach out to us. You can watch the show on WCCT Thursday through Sunday at 7, on the weekends at noon. That is Comcast Channel 98, Verizon Channel 28. Lastly, check out chesterfield.gov/connect with us to find out a number of other ways to connect with Chesterfield County. Now, thanks to my director, Martin Stith, my executive producer, Teresa, Bonifas, and all the good folks from Constituent Media Services for all they do. And my thanks to you for joining us today. So, from all of us here in Chesterfield, thanks again for making us a part of your day. We'll see you again real soon. Take good care. From blogs to podcasts.
And I'm very glad to tell you that Chesterfield Behind the Mic is on the air once again.
Weekly video segments and newsletters.
Social media, the latest community news.
And this is your Chesterfield News Minute for September 19th.
How to get in touch, and everything in between. If you want to know about Chesterfield County, our Connect With Us webpage has you covered. Chesterfield.gov/connect with us. Connect with us, your source for all things Chesterfield.